Hello everybody, and welcome to today's Dynamics 365 Tech Talk. Today's topic is Introduction to Traceability add-in for Dynamics 365 Supply Chain Management. My name is Alejandra and I will be your moderator today. Presenting for us today, from Microsoft we have Van Luo, Senior Program Manager, and Lin Yan, Senior Engineering Manager. Van, over to you to get us started.
Thank you, Alejandra. Thank you for being with us for today's Tech Talk on the Traceability add-in for Dynamics 365 Supply Chain Management. My name is Van Luo, and I'm the Senior Product Manager for this Traceability feature. You can see my contact information here. If you have any question or would like to connect, please feel free to reach out. This is our Engineer Manager, Lin Yang. So, Yang, over to you.
Okay, Ben. So this is Lin Yang from Dynamics 365 SCM from Traceability team. So I will help to answer all your questions. Back to you, Ben.
Okay, so our agenda today is to set the tone first on the going through the introduction of new traceability feature. Then going to the demo, which will show the out-of-box integration between Dynamics 365 SCM and the Traceability. And also in the integration by using Traceability public API. Finally, we will share the roadmap and some updates of what we are working on currently. We have allocated time for Q&A, but please feel free to post your questions during the presentation. Lin will be available to answer your questions throughout the session. Now, let's get started with the introduction of Traceability. There are three business problems we aim to solve by our traceability feature. First is what happened. Second is how did it happen. The last question is which are impacted. We use as-built BOM and maintain the BOM to track the composition of the object and the log activities across supply chain management. This will helping to answer what happened to the tracked object. For how did it happen, we include multiple dimensions such as business time, activity type, and the code, and data collection in activity detail for clarification. For the last questions, we use reports to advise on the impact scope against the unique identities, such as serial numbers, batch numbers, lot numbers, and asset numbers. Now, let's take a look at one of the traceability usage scenarios. Here, Contoso EV, it is an electric vehicle manufacturer. Recently, they received the customers' complaints about power attenuation in their latest model. So Marcy, the quality engineer, identified that this issue was caused by a specific batch of batteries. The solution was to replace the battery pack. Then, using the genealogy tree report, Marcy found the defective battery pack position through a backward search. And then she used the user report to get the vehicle numbers which are using the same batch of defective battery packs. After analyzing the data graphically, Marcy exported the impacted vehicle numbers in a table form for later communication. She sent the vehicle numbers which has been sold to the sales team for recalling the sold vehicles. Then after that, she also can contact to the manufacturing team for refurbishing those vehicles which are still in the warehouse. So this is just an example of how our traceability feature can be used in the recall process. Besides this, traceability also can help in the conscious consumption, ethical supply chain management, and regulatory compliance, etc. Let's take a look at the business flow of traceability. The traceability feature is designed to track and trace across the entire supply chain management process, from sourcing and purchasing to warehouse management, manufacturing management, quality management, sales and distribution, and finally to the customer service. We track two kinds of informations. So the first information is in the blue line. It's called the genealogy event. This information is collected from the suppliers, manufacturers, and customer service. The genealogy event also known as the as-built BOM and as maintained BOM. It is mapped to our first block at the bottom. So in our example, you can see the top finished good. It is a surface bundle. It is made from a tablet, a type cover, and a pen. Each of these components has its unique identity, such as like the serial number or batch number. And also we can drill down to the composition of subcomponent. So you can see this tablet is made from one SSD and one screen. And each of these composition also has its unique identity, like the serial number or batch number. The second information we collected is the one in the yellow. We call it like the custody event. This is mapped to the second block, activity event. So each activity event is attached to one of the genealogy node to reflect the supply chain activities, such as the sales and the manufacturing operations. So in this example, you can monitor the order creation and the release and the consumption of specific raw material. So here you can see when is the type cover be consumed by which operator at which time. And besides these two blocks, we have the third block called the data collection. So for different industry and customers, there are specific track and trace requirements. So in this example, you can see you can configure and collect like the vendor information, like the vendor account and the vendor batch number. And also you can collect the quality test item and the test result according to your business need. So this data collection object offers the flexible extensibility to the traceability feature. So in conclusion, the genealogy tree, activity event, and the data collection form the framework of our traceability feature. This is the data flow of our traceability integration. There is out-of-box integration from D365 SCM to traceability by a backend process. So one thing I need to mention here, the traceability is not designed to offer traceability is designed to offer a collaborative data structure for big data query and insight analysis. It is not intended to replace execution systems like the MES, WMS, and the TMS. So those real-time validation logic and error proofing are still kept in those execution systems. It's not included in our traceability feature. So that's why we are using the backend process for asynchronous integration. And in traceability, we consolidate transactions from different supply chain modules. And in our current phase, we offer the forward and backward search with attached activity details. Beside the out-of-box integration with D365, there are public APIs available for external systems to integrate with traceability. So you can use our traceability to consolidate track and trace information to fill those data silo issues. Okay, so from this picture, you can see that the traceability integrates with the D365 is follow a step-by-step phase. So the first integration we offered is with the track the component feature of the manufacturing production flow execution interface. Then after that, we also have a plan to integrate with the purchase process and warehouse management, sales process, quality management, asset management, and transportation management. And before the out-of-box integration is ready, so you also can use a public API to customize the integration with other modules which is not available with your legacy system. Now, let's take a look at the demo of traceability integration. So in this demo, we will simulate a manufacturing process starting from raw material purchasing, and there will be a batch job to produce a semi-finished good product with a co-product and a byproduct for processing industry. Then the semi-finished good will be consumed by a production order for discrete manufacturing. And finally, we will demo the API integration to track the sales confirmation of one of the finished goods. Okay, so now let's start. So first, we will start from create a purchase order to buy the raw material for the batch order. Now, we just created the purchase order by enter the vendor account. This is just like the what you're doing today. It's a standard routine. After that, then we start to create one of the line items. So it's like a comp 03 batch. This is a raw material managed by batch number, and with a quantity 100 piece. Then we updated the line to do the registration. By this activity, we can create the batch number. So you can see the batch number of the raw material is 235. Okay. Then we just have to confirm this purchase order. Because we're just using the standard configuration, so that's why we apply this action. Then we do the goods receipt for this purchase order. Here, we just use the same number of the purchase order as the documentation number. Then we click the OK to post this goods receipt. So once this goods receipt is posted, the transaction is also triggered to send from D365 to Traceabllity. So here, you can see the transaction is in a Power Platform. It's just a temp table, so for monitor purpose. Then we just come here in the genealogy trace, we enter the batch number. So here we can see the batch number 235 is here. Then we just pick it. Then you can see one node is created and with the activity of the purchase information. So here you can see the quantity and the batch number. And we just log this batch number down for the later use. So in the real business case, this number should be printed out and stick on the physical object. Now we go to the production control to create the batch order. So same, we click the new batch order and enter the item number for the semi-finished good. So it is SFG02-batch, so which means this material is also managed by the batch number. Then enter the site number. So system will propose the formula and the routing. And we set the quantity to 10. Then do the creation. Here you can see the new batch order number is 203. So we just click in to get the detail. Then after that, we will apply the standard routing to do the estimation with the default setup. And do the scheduling. So schedule the jobs. Then the schedule direction as forward from today. Then we do the batch order release. Also with the default setup. Then we check the transaction to get the serial number, batch number of the finished good. So the number is 236. Also, we just log it down. Because this batch order also has a co-product and a byproduct. So we're just using the batch to function to get the batch number of the co and the byproduct. So for byproduct it's 238. For co-product is 237. And also we log it down. Then we will use our PFE, production flow execution interface, to do the assembly process. Here, enter the batch ID. Then we can filter out the operation for the batch order 203. Then we can see there are two operations. So the first operation is for the assembly, and the second operation is for the goods receipt. We start the first operation with full quantity. Then you can see on the right side, here's the new feature delivered by our manufacturing team called the track the component. And by this feature, you can do the accurate association between the finished good and the raw material. Yes, so here we just scan in the batch number of the finished good. So it's 236. Then scan the batch number of the raw material. So it's 235. Then you can see these two components as linked together. Then we do the same thing, repeat the same step for the co-product, 237, with the same batch of the raw material, 235, and also do that for the byproduct. So it's 238, linked to the 235 raw material. So once this done, we can verify the association link. This association link will be used to build our genealogy tree. Then you click the OK, then do the report progress. Then we do the full quantity report and complete this operation. So once this is done, the transaction will be triggered from D365 to Traceabllity. Then we just complete the second operation for the goods receipt. So start the operation, also with the full quantity. Then we just do the report progress, just like what you are doing today. So we pick them all and click the report progress, scanning the batch number, and the qualified quantity, so it's 10. Then next, for the co-product, also the batch number, and with full quantity. And the batch number for the byproduct, and with 10 quantity, yes. And we report the progress. Also, this will trigger the integration from D365 to Traceabllity. Then we just do the verification to make sure all the operation is completed. Yes, there's no more operation left. So here, this is the temp table in D365. You can see the transaction will be stay in this temp table for a while before it is being retrieved by the traceability service. So once it's gone, then which means it's arrived in the Power Platform. So you can see it here. So this is also another temp table in Power Platform. So all those unprocessed transactions will be stay here until it has been processed, and then it will be cleared out. Now we can go to the traceability and to verify the result. So here we enter the batch number of the finished good, semi-finished good. So you can see this one is made from the COM03 batch. And in the activity detail, we can see there are two activities. First is called production picking list. This is described the consumption of the raw material. And the second activity is the production report finished good. So this is also advise how many finished good, semi-finished good you receive. And also you can see when we click the trace of the raw material, we can see this COM03 is consumed by 3 parent, and they are the semi-finished good and also the co-product and byproduct. And the same in the co-product and byproduct, we can see the same two activities. One is for the consumption, and the second is for the goods receipt. And also they only included the co and the byproduct themselves. And in the raw material view detail, we can see the purchase information is also heritage in this genealogy tree. Now we need to start the production order execution. So first we create a purchase order to buy the raw material of the production order. For this production order, we will consume two raw material. One is this one, the comp01 serial. This is managed by serial number, and another is the semi-finished good, which is produced by previous batch number. So here we enter the quantity for the serialized raw material with 10. Then update the purchase order line with the registration to generate the serial number. So you can see the serial number generated. It is from 67 to 76. So in this demo, we're just using the number generation automatically. But in the real world, you can use the serial number from your vendor to input it manually. So here also, we lock down the serial number in our note. Just simulate the printout action. Then we also do the same routine to confirm the purchase order before the goods receipt. Then we start to do the goods receipt. Same, we're using the same purchase order number as the documentation number. Okay, so once this goods receipt is posted, we just do the verification. So, okay, it's not in it's sent out to the Power Platform. Then also, okay, so which means it's processed already. Then we can go to the genealogy tree and take a look. So here we can see all this serial number as listed here. Then we just type one of the serial number, 67. Then view the detail. We can see the purchase information here for this specific serial number, the 67, with the quantity and the location. Now we start to create the batch production order. So with the item number, it's called FG01 serial. So which means this finished good also managed by the serial number. So the system will propose the BOM and routing. Okay. So in our current D365 item tracing, all the consumption relationship is at the order level. So which means if you have one production order with multiple serialized output, then it cannot tell you the accurate association between the finished good and the raw material. Everything will be mixed together. So, but with our new track the component feature and the traceability feature, we can solve this problem. So now here we updated the quantity from 1 to 3. So this production order will produce 3 serialized output. Each of these output will consume different, identify the raw material. Yeah. So same, we do the estimation of this production order, then also schedule the job. So schedule direction is also forwarded from today. Then we also need to release this production order. Here, from this transaction, we need to log down the serial number of the finished good. So usually this should be printed out once this number is generated. So the serial number is 77, 78, and 279. So same, we need to do the registration for this 3 serial number. So we just go to the serial numbers. To register this 3 serial number, because only register serial number can be processed by the tracked component. So here we enter the serial number 77 for FG01 serial with the manufacturer data, a date. Then also create another one for the 78. And also with the same manufacturer date. And then the last one, 79. Okay. Now we will start to do the execution with another entry point. So we were using the current operations to do the assembly process. So also go to the production control using the current operations. Then we filter out the operations according to the production order number 261. So we found there are 3 operations. The first 2 is for the assembly and the last one is for the good receipt. We started the first one. Here we need to turn off those picking list auto posting function, and I'll never do the BOM consumption automation consumption. Then we go to the route card, entering the journal. Then we found there's a new button called the track component, similar to what you are doing in PFE. So you just scan in the serial number of the finished good, then scan in the another serial number for the raw material. So it's 67. Okay. Then you can see these 2 as being linked together, and also do the same for the second finished good. So it's 78, and also link it to the 68 raw material, and also do the last one, 79, link it to 69. Okay, so you can see there's 6 successful message on the top, and now we can view the association. So here you can see the association between the finished good and the raw material. So 77 linked to 67, 78 mapped to 68, 79 linked to 69. Okay, so everything is okay. Then we just go back and to post this consumption. So first we need to check these 2 operations to complete this operation and also post the BOM consumption. Then we just do the posting. So say only when this posting is triggered, then the information will be sent to Traceabllity. And also you can see in the temp table, this message has been installed, can be viewed here. Then we just go back and to complete the rest of the operations. So we need to start the second operation to consume the semi-finished good produced by the batch order. The same, we start the operation, with the quantity, and depress those auto posting function. Okay, never do the routing consumption, and never do the BOM consumption. Don't do the posting picking list now. Okay. And also go to the route card. We can see there's a new journal. Entering the journal and do the track component. Say we scan the serial number of the finished good, and also we can see the batch number of the semi-finished good is the 236. So first serialized, let's say output is 77, then linked to 236. Then scan the second finished good, 78, and also link to the same batch of the raw material. and 79 also linked to the raw material, same raw material. We can view the association, and also here you can see the association from previous operation and also the current one. So you can see all the 3 finished goods as associated to the same semi-finished good, the 236, and also okay. So we do the same, check the operation complete and the bond consumption, and do the post. Okay, then this picking list transaction will be sent from D365 to Traceabllity. Then we go to do the last goods receipt. Also start the operation with the same setup. Then go to the raw card. Then we just do the operation and production report as finished. Okay, check the last one. Then we do the post. Then here you can see the report as finished as in the temp table. Then we just check in the Power Platform. Okay, so it's in and the status is unprocessed. And you can see once it's in, the transaction will be gone. Okay. So once this transaction is processed, okay, then we can check it in the traceability. Yeah. So say we enter the serial number of one of the finished good. So you can see this 77 is made from comp 01 and SFG 02. We can check the detail. So here, now we have 3 activities because we have 3 operations. So the first is to consume the comp 01, and the second activity is consume the SFG 02. Okay. And the last one is for the goods receipt, okay, with quantity and the location. And also, we can check the purchase information of count 01 is also heritage into the same tree. Okay, and here we can see the genealogy tree of the SFG is also merged into the same tree. And also we check the where use of this SFG 02. So we can see the 3 serial number, serial number of the 3 output. So you can see the same thing of the 78. It also has the 3 activities. The first 2 is for the consumption, the last one is for the goods receipt. And also for the last one, the 79. Usually the latest activity will be at the top for your checking. Okay, so beside the previous 2 scenario, the out-of-box integration. So here is a demo how we use the public API for the integration with traceability. So here we will simulate the sales confirmation. It should be triggered like from your legacy system from the sales one. So here we will do the sales confirmation for the finished goods 77 and 78. And here the activity type and sale and the activity code is confirmed. So just to make sure this one has been configured in traceability. So here we can see this activity code and type is activated for tracking purpose. And also here in the detail part, we included a customer account and a customer name and a sales order. So we just trigger the send. Okay, say this message will in the temp table first. Then okay, we check the result in traceability. Now check the 77. can view the detail. So here you can see there's one latest new activity inserted in the top of the activity detail. It is for sales confirmation with the sales order and a customer account and a customer name. So here the sales order, customer name, and account are the data collection part. And because we just post one transaction, but with multiple, the object. So you can see the same activity also inserted for the second finished good, the 78, also confirmed for the sales process. Okay, so that's the demo I will show here. Then let's continue. Now so this is our traceability roadmap. So here we are now at in the phase 2. So in this phase, the traceability feature enters into the public preview with the feature such as the data collection model. This one you just see in the API integration, and also enhanced we'll use the reports and data lake for long-term storage, because as required by some governments and the regulation, the track and trace need to be kept over 10 or 20 years. So that's why we will use data lake for the long-term storage. And also we will introduce the Copilot summary for where use the report and activity details to give you a quick insight of the impact of defective for record process, and also for the the object supply chain history information. And in our next phase, we will complete the data collection feature with the bi-direction search. So this means because now you can only do the forward search against the unique identity of the raw material. But once the bi-direction search is available for data collection, you also can do the forward search based on the value of the data collection. For example, like the customer name or customer number or the other dimension. And also we will continue working on the integration with the Dynamics 365 SCM management modules, such as the purchase and the sales, quality management, and the transportation, to offer end-to-end supply chain traceability. And also, besides this information, there's one thing I will mention here. For the license, we during this public preview, there's no extra subscription needed. But after the GA, we will follow the same rule like our another product called the demand planning, to use the premium license for the traceability. There are some questions I got from previous session, so I will mention that. Okay, so first, if the connection between D365 and the traceability is broken temporarily, will we lost the track and trace information? So the answer is no, because in our demo, you can see we have two temp table existed in D365 and the Power Platform. So the transaction will stay in the temp table of D365 first, then it will be retrieved to Power Platform later. So once the connection is broken, we still will keep those transactions in this 365 temp table first. Then once the connection is recovered, then all the traceability information will be processed again. And second question is like, okay, if the auto generation number can be used as a mandatory setup. No. Well, the number automation generated is just for the demo purpose. You can do the number input manually. Okay, so also you can use a vendor batch number or serial number. And for the license questions, it's also just like I mentioned, we will follow the same rule like the demand planning to use the premium license. Okay, so thank you everyone for joining this call today, and we appreciate your time. And you can also join our Yammer group for the latest update. And for any question after the session, you can also reach out to the product team and Lin and me. Now, over to you, Alex.
Thanks to our presenters and to you, our audience, for attending our Tech Talk today. We hope that you have a great rest of the day ahead.